there's a bear in the woods.
Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of
Singers, James, singers I've got.
My pedal broke, man.
And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys.
Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it. I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
The short season winds down, and it comes down to a single point between our leaders. Madden and Gummer, for the most part, have a simple task: finish ahead of the other. It's winner take all as we get ready to watch round 5 of the Driving Club at Road Atlanta iRacing Winter League, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Joey Atterbury. Behind the scenes is our director Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Appropriately, we'll finish up at Road Atlanta tonight. So, to get you up to speed, let's head to our track guide to learn more about this fantastic venue. Welcome to Road Atlanta, the scene of incredible sports car racing for decades and the home to the Petit Le Mans. This is a track that has proven itself to be worthy of attention on a world stage. With it being situated only an hour northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, the circuit is in a prime location. But despite its flagship race, in contrast to the real Le Mans, the full course is a measly 2.5 miles long. The club layouts also clock in at just under 2 miles. Packed within this small lap length is a series of technical and challenging corners, some of which can be race-ending even when small mistakes are made. Turn 1 is a fast sweeper which compresses the car into the track, but the high speeds mean that when you go off, you typically go off in a big way. Turn 3 is notorious for its curved entry into a blind apex. Too far inside and you face a cut course penalty. Too far outside and you're likely to spin out. Then there's the unassuming Turn 5. The wide curving lures you into getting greedy, but the close walls on either side gobble up cars and spit them out as a crumpled heap. With all the tricky fast turns, that's not to say that there aren't passing opportunities. The main one comes at the chicane at the bottom of the backstretch. The huge downhill drop into the turn makes outbraking yourself quite easy though, so be careful. The whole thing wraps up with the frightening final corner. With nothing but a giant wall right to the outside as cars fly through at high speed, it's not often that wrecks are small. Boasting a wide swath of series over its history, everything from NASCAR to Indy Lights and of course IMSA, the main use of the track is SCCA events and driving schools. No wonder this place is popular both in real life and here on the iRacing service. Fans will no doubt get to enjoy many more years of action at this incredible track. Well, it might be a short lap, Joey, but I think this is a great place to finish it up because it's got a little bit of everything here.
A little bit of everything from fast sweeping corners there in turn 1 to the technical S section and the always tricky turn 5. And then the back half of the racetrack, very different. It's all about the launch coming out of turn 7 down that long back straightaway into the heavy brake zone of turns 10A and 10B and back out onto the front straight. Little over 2.5 miles here, 12 turns in length, makes up Road Atlanta, and I know a lot of these competitors very familiar with this place.
Hopefully that'll help a few of them today. We'll see if it does or not. But in the meantime, I talked about the championship, and up at the top of it, there you see it, Madden versus Gummer for a single point, considering they run sort of Grand Prix style points here, and it's 25 for a win. Unless both of them finish way down the order, it's unlikely to come down to a tie out here. It's going to be who finishes ahead of the other. Still got a few battles behind them. Jason Owens has fallen behind Philip Crane, but still mathematically has a shot at third. It's probably the battle with Baystender behind him that he's more concerned about. And then look at the fight between Thomas and Torres for sixth as well. That should be fun. Wilmot and Tran also only separated by by 2 points rather, for the end of the season. So plenty to fight for. I'm sure there's a lot of pride on the line for these drivers over the winter series. But speaking of this series, why don't we head to the race details, Joey, to update our audience on what to expect.
Well, this is the final round, race 5 of 5, and we actually have a couple of races coming at us tonight. 20 minutes of a sprint race followed up with a 30-minute feature, so everybody gets 2 chances at claiming a checkered flag tonight, and it's an open setup, which means each one of these cars and drivers is tuned to their liking and not really incident limit care out here. They can kind of bounce over the curbs, run off track if they need to. 80X, no big deal.
Exactly. And, well, the driving club at Road Atlanta iRacing Winter League is, of course, powered by DiscoveryParts. DiscoveryParts bring a full range of safety gear for DCRA members to all of our Road Atlanta events. By bringing a wide selection, they make sure that our drivers get the perfect gear the first time, every time. DCRA members have helped DiscoveryParts become the #1 Stilo Helmet Dealer in the USA for the past 5 years. Stilo helmets offer an incredibly light and strong helmet that can be customized for every driver. For all your on-track needs, go to DiscoveryParts.com, and active DCRA members receive special pricing and benefits, so definitely incentive for them to get on top of that. As we're currently in qualifying, but in the dying stages of it here with about 5 minutes left to go. I do see Cameron Campbell out there, but he is the only one out there right now, and I believe only himself and Todd Westfelling are able to set laps from here. Everybody else has completed their 10 laps.
Yeah, and it's always nice to get a little bit of practice here. Ride on board with Cameron Campbell as he goes down into turn 6, sweeping right-hander into one of the most crucial parts of the racetrack, in my opinion, Joe. This is turn 7 right here, and it's all about putting the power down coming out of the corner, because it leads out onto the longest straightaway here at Road Atlanta with the highest top speed and your biggest chance at a passing zone at the end.
So Porsche leading his way down into the chicane. I believe he's on a flyer right now. Actually, no, I'm not seeing a time up. So this might be an outlap still for Cameron. He has not set a single time yet, and he's only going to get at most about 3 laps in. Even that, I don't think so. Yeah, he's going to get 2 laps here because they can only finish laps within the time. They can't complete hot laps with this qualifying setup. So he heads on around, and this was a flyer, actually. Excuse me. That's going to put him into 13th with that latest one of a 1:21.6.
You see him all the way out on those exit curbs at turn 1, up over the crest there at turn 3, and let me tell you, that turn 3 can be a doozy. Just the visual markers coming in are very tricky here in the simulator, and Cameron Campbell actually looks like he's putting together a pretty good second lap right now.
To add to that complication, the sun quickly going down, because they do have 2 times the normal speed of daylight here, so it'll go down twice as quick as it normally does, which means probably by the time we finish that sprint race, we're going to be in darkness. As Campbell comes off of turn 7, looking clean so far, and I am showing him tracking at about 4/10 faster than his best lap.
Well, and it's interesting you bring up that weather, Joe, because as that sun goes down, I would expect the track, the temperature to come down as well. And that just means faster speeds, and that might play into Cameron's hands, actually.
That's a good point. Him waiting until quite late, but he certainly put himself under the gun, only having 2 laps here to be able to put a flyer in. Let's see if this one is going to be quicker. It is 21-2, and that will not jump him up a position, unfortunately. So, 3 laps actually total that he will have to try and set a time during this. So just this last one to go. I'm going to watch that timer. Oh, man, through the first 3 or 4 corners here, he's already half a second up, Joey.
He really nailed turn 3, and we'll see how he gets through turn 5 right here. Looks pretty smooth up and over the curbs on the exit, and like I mentioned, turn 7, as long as you get the car turned in, don't jump it over the apex curbs too much, because that can affect you squeezing on that throttle when it comes to the exit.
Still tracking at about 6, now 0.7 of a second faster. Oh, but it goes back down. I think maybe he was a little slow coming off the corner. Tires probably getting fully up to temperature now here by this 3rd lap, especially with it being a cool 73 Fahrenheit on the track surface out there. And the Porsche is hooked up. He's got to make up half a second to take 12th place from Habib just in front of him on the timing sheets. So he's going to need all of these 6 or 7 of a second to be able to make up a spot and have it count for anything, even though it'll probably feel good if he does improve all 3 laps. He crosses, it's a 20.4, and that'll put him actually up into 11th, not just 12th.
Yeah, really good lap there from Cameron, and not going to have enough time, and actually runs wide there in turn 1, and that's going to wrap up qualifying.
It does indeed. Looks like we're going to see 15 cars take to the grid here today. Rafael Jr. Torres is going to be starting on the pole position, the only driver to crack into the 118s during this session. David Madden putting himself in a good spot by starting ahead of Gummer, but only by 1 position in second as Gummer begins on the inside of row 2. Daniel Vincent will be to his outside of that row. Then, of course, we have Cal Dennis in the 5th position. And after that, it is Tyler Hoffman in 6th. John Bastener will be P7, and Philip Crane in 8th. And after that, it is Jason Owens, in the 9th position. Seth Thomas rounds out your top 10.
In 11th spot, we have Cameron Campbell, who we're just following and qualifying. Then we have Todd Westfelling there in 12th. Christopher Habib 13th, Nathaniel Siccio in 14th, and Adam Sokolow rounding out the 15 cars here today at Road Atlanta.
Fortunately for those at the very tail end, it's going to be a bit of an awkward start. It's standing start here for this one, and they've kind of gone around that final bend, which is very close to the start-finish line. So this could be interesting to see if they can manage to get the power down and not spin the tires too much. Of course, they do have traction control on these GT3 cars. That might help them some there. We're just waiting for the last couple to grid up here, Joey, and then we start the last round of the season.
Yeah, and this is when the anxiety always hits for me. It's always the nerves going up, and it's funny, in a real race car, I don't get it, but here in the sim world, I never know what's going to happen.
It just really gets the butterflies going, doesn't it? As it looks like we might have everybody out there. Nope, we're still missing Campbell. He's going to be the last one to grid up. He's got about 30 more seconds. There he is. He's not going to take him. So the lights will now come up as the engines start to rev here for the final round of this winter series. And the green flag is out off the line. Doesn't look like a great start from Madden. In fact, it looks like Gummer is going to get that second spot immediately. He might even fall to 4th, down to his inside. We've got Dennis managing to overtake him as they fly into the first turn. We got a wreck behind them at the back of the field.
Yeah, it looks like Seth Thomas got turned going into turn 1. There was about 3 wide up there, and we got more problems at the top of the hill there in turn 3.
Yeah, been a bit of a troublesome start for a couple drivers. And quick correction, it looks like they are going to only run 10 laps on this first heat, even though it is a maximum of 20 minutes. Whoa, big accident there. That was Madden. That's Madden, one of our championship contenders.
Oh, Joe, what a huge wreck. He was coming up out of turn 5, just lost the car, hooked to driver's left, which can be a common problem out here. And what heavy damage for one of our championship contenders.
Cal Dennis also off the track, it appears. Adam Sekalo is having trouble, and then maybe Daniel Vincent, I think, seems to have run into trouble coming out of turn 7. It has been rife with trouble out on the track. Down into the final chicane. Looks like Torres is going to lead Gummer, but Jamie O really just needs to cruise here, and he's sitting in a good position going into the feature.
Yeah, and really the two cars that made it through clean, Torres and Gummer, are leading the way out front. Really already gapped it out to third place. Look at that, over 2.5 seconds as we take a look at some of these replays.
So let's see, down into the first corner, Seth Thomas. I think he maybe had trouble with Cameron Campbell here, because I did see, yep, there he goes into him, but it looks like he got tipped around by what I think was one of the Lambos.
Yeah, it looked like one of the Lamborghinis right there in the middle. They were 3 wide and can be really tricky going into turn 1. And here we're going to look at Tyler Hoffman. I believe he goes off driver's left here. Ooh, yeah, just gets a McLaren pulled out right in front of his line and does a really good job at saving it.
Fantastic catch. I mean, he was just right on top of it and kept going, only lost a couple positions. Now, what about David Madden? Over the tricky turn 5. Inside curb is okay. Outside, not so much. And there he goes. Wow, he got spit across the track.
And Joe, I'm going to rule that down to lap 1. Cold tires, just it doesn't act the same over the bumps on the exit here. We're going to get a look from Daniel Vincent as you see Madden bounce across the track right in front of him.
Not something you want to see on the first lap. Now, Vincent got involved, I think, in this other incident. So let's see what exactly happens. It's out of turn 7, and he and 2 other cars were spun off to the inside of the course. Oh, and looks like, unfortunately, the shuttle had a bit of a problem. And someone else with a separate incident behind them on top of things, and they both try and get going, drive themselves straight into the wall. That was odd.
Yeah, it was Adam Sekalo, the 3rd car here in line, and just gets too happy with the right foot. Once again, on cold tires on lap 1, it just, the car acts a little bit differently than once everything is warmed up.
Not sure which shuttle they tried to paint that BMW like, but it seemed a little bit like the Challenger today, unfortunately. We've had a number of cars in the sprint race into pit lane already, despite there being no scheduled stops. Habib, Sekalo, Vincent, and Hoffman, and then Madden's actually gotten back out on track. He's up to 9th. He's already got 2 points to his name if he finishes there.
Well, I think that's kind of the name of the game in races like this, is just take what you can get and limit the bleeding. You're not the only one with having attrition problems out there.
Indeed. And this track, it certainly punishes mistakes, and we're seeing that today. So keep it on the black stuff. It seems like you'll be able to hold out, but looks like Gummer's got himself a fastest lap this time. I don't believe that gets them a bonus point in this series. They'll double check the rules on that. But it does mean bad things for Torres, who is still leading this race, that he's still faster than him and hovering not that far behind.
And really looking at the pace of these front two, they both did 119.2s that last lap. I know that Gummer snagged that purple fastest lap like you were mentioning, but really almost an identical pace between the front two.
Now Nathan Sicchio seems to have joined pit lane. Not sure if he had some sort of contact with the wall or what, but he's coming down to his pit stall, so I assume he's going to take one of those spare cars. Looks like we might have a replay of what happened to the 13 here. This is down at the chicane. Did he lose control? It's okay right now. Still good, still good.
He's got heavy damage on that Ferrari already, it looks like, Joe. The left side's pretty banged up on that thing.
So it must have happened much earlier. Well, I think that'll have to remain a mystery for the time being. As,
This might explain it.
There it is. Wow, we missed a huge multi-car incident there coming up the hill over 2.
Yeah, that was out of turn 1 is what I'm going to guess. And looks like cars in front of him, both left and right side. And just trying to avoid the wreck, playing Frogger, it didn't work out.
A big hit to the front of the car, and it was right on the corner too, so I'm sure that borked the suspension on that machine. In the meantime, back to Torres and Gummer. Rafael is responding. It's up to 1.1 seconds now. Seems to have got the hammer down.
Yeah, just a little bit cleaner laps out of Torres right now, and he's actually going to get the benefit of the slipstream from a lap car going down the hill and actually going to jump back. This is riding on board Cameron Campbell right now, looking forward, and I believe this is Nathan Sicchio right in front of him.
Campbell was involved in that opening wreck down into turn 1, but has recovered nicely, although he did have to visit the pits, it seems, to take his spare car. He's sitting in 11th. If he can pass Nathan, he'll get up into the points of this sprint race, but there's points for both of them. So you got to perform well in each as they come around onto the back stretch. Don't think he's quite close enough, but does look like he's quicker than that 13.
Well, and this back straight is long enough for the toe to kind of come into effect here, depending on the wing angles they're running. Looks like Cameron in the Porsche is actually able to close it up just a little bit, got a few more miles an hour, about 3 or 4 miles an hour faster at the end of the back straight. And just like that, Nathan made a mistake in the brake zone, and Cameron's going to take advantage, get the nose of the Porsche up underneath here in turn 12.
Backs out of it. Just no guts for that one. Wants to try and preserve the car. He's already had enough trouble this race and is already a lap down because well, no, I thought they had the leaders behind them. It looks like that is other cars that are chasing them currently. And then you can see with the green Ferrari of Madden already up into 8th position.
Yeah, and he's chasing a car, the number 14, right in front of him, and that is for position. And Joe, you mentioned it. You got to grab the points that you can, especially in the position that he is. Just kind of get back on the horse, start getting through this field.
Oh, he's doing just that. Not saying die quite yet. And there you go. One more as Cal Dennis doesn't fight it too hard and lets him through into turn 6. Next up in front, Todd Westfelling in 6th place. He is picking him off. But the bad news is, if he wants to outscore Gummer in this one, he's already half a minute behind him.
Yeah, huge in terms of track position, but Madden's in the slipstream right here, going to pull out drivers left, going to put him in the advantage going into turns 10A, 10B here. Just got to hit your braking zone. Don't overstep it here, and it's got a lot of traffic to deal with in front of him. Eyes up.
Oh, very much so. My goodness, for only 15 cars out on track, they've all kind of clumped together here at this point. And whoa, that was a big risk down in the final turn. That's going to slow him up as cars scatter, trying to find their way through. Different momentum for everybody and everywhere you look. He manages to go by Westfelling. That'll get him back into 6th. That's Vincent in front of him. He's a lap down, but Seth Thomas, the BMW just in front, is on the same lap.
Yeah, and Seth, remember, was involved in that lap 1, turn 1 incident, got his car going, and I actually want to give a shout out to Seth because I grew up watching him racing way back in those old Bimmer World cars and the touring cars, and then got to race against him for a long time in the Grand Am stuff through the GS days, and here I am getting to call a race for him here in the virtual world. It's pretty cool.
All comes full circle. Well, right now he has got himself a gap of what appears to be, about a second over David Madden. So he can't sit around and lollygag right now. In fact, Madden's already overtaken the lapped car and is now focusing his attention on that 81 and is cutting it down extremely quickly. It's down to half a second.
Yeah, I think Seth is still carrying a lot of front-end damage on that BMW, so he is way down on pace right now, despite him trying to send it in every corner.
And this is going to be 3 to go for them as they cross, but again, they're almost half a lap behind the leaders, with Torres still at the front of Gummer by now 2 minutes, but trying to make a recovery drive. We got a problem for Baystinner, who was in 4th. Is he going to be able to hold on to this position? It looks like he will. And I just realized, does he have a UPS-themed livery on that Lamborghini?
Let's see here. Yes, it looks like he's got a UPS-themed Lamborghini, and then I know that the Seth Thomas BMW was USPS. It seems like we've got a bit of a postage war going on.
Exactly. This is getting personal out here. Well, he's just spun the car, didn't hit anything, so Bastetter keeps going, and he had put such a gap on Thomas. He's still 12 seconds ahead, despite slowly trundling his way back to the circuit. We're already to 2 laps to go now. Here we go. I think Madden's got it this time. He's on the back of him. He's got better speed, and he's getting a little bit of help up ahead as Cameron Campbell, a lap down, is towing them along. And there goes Dave Madden up into the 5th spot.
And I think Seth knew that he couldn't do anything about that, just kind of let that Ferrari drive right on by. Well, because he couldn't do anything else. He's got that wounded BMW, and now Madden's trying to get around Cameron Campbell up there, but just being patient after working your way back up all of these positions. Don't throw it away with only 2 laps to go with an unnecessary move.
Whoa, speaking of which, throwing it away once again. Campbell just tips into the outside barrier, and that actually checked up Madden just a bit. It looks like Thomas almost spied an opportunity to snatch that one back.
It's all in that momentum there. Seth really had the momentum. He wasn't getting checked up from that car in front of him, but Dave Madden did the right thing. Saw the car get loose in front of him, lifted off of the gas to avoid, saw the direction, and went the other way.
Go where they're not, I suppose, as Gummer now gets the white flag. 1 to go. Remember, he's only running in 2nd right now. This sprint race looks like Rafael Torres, who has been controlling it since the start, has it pretty well handled at this stage, although he's lost a little time. Maybe he's just backing it off to bring this one home.
It's kind of hovered, you're right, kind of between 3/4 of a second, maybe 1.2, but every time that Torres pulls it out, Gummer's right there to reel it back in, and really sketchy over the bumps there with the Lamborghini and Gummer, but hangs on to it.
I don't know if Jamiel knows what Madden is up to, but I wouldn't be risking that knowing that he's going to get great points over him, even if Madden's all the way up to 5th position. It's still going to be very handy for the #1, so I don't think there's much reason for him to take risks at this stage, but he seems to beg otherwise as he is pushing 10 tenths. And already some premature celebrations from Torres. No, that's not celebrations. He's lapping Sekalo.
Yeah, just trying to get the car's attention, say, hey, I'm coming in, be aware, don't put it in the middle of the track.
Out of the final chicane, and the 777 car is going to come down to the start-finish line and win our sprint race here for the final round of the Winter Series. The Drivers Club at Road Atlanta now sees Jamiel Gummer go from 2nd to 1st in the points, ahead of David Madden. But what will the feature race hold? And Madden is way too far behind Bastetter at this point. It's already 10 seconds. I'm not thinking he's going to catch him.
Yeah, Bastetter's already in and out of turns 10B. Madden's coming down still to get on the brakes here going into the chicane. But I will say, you know, as far down as David Madden was earlier in this sprint race, props for getting up, getting back on that horse and finishing in the top 5.
So, oh, and excuse me, I'm double checking the points here, and it does look like actually that is 8 points for first, and each subsequent is less points. So that was 7 points for Gummer, and it is going to be 5 for Madden, if I am counting correctly. That might be 4. I'll do that in a second as we will take a look at the results. And Rafael Torres takes the win here tonight in the sprint. Gummer will finish in 2nd. It was Philip Crane in P3, John Bastetter 4th, and Madden down in 5th position. Seth Thomas finished P6. Then it's Cal Dennis in 7th and Todd Westbelling in 8th. Tyler Hoffman finished 9th, and Jason Owens was 10th. Daniel Vincent was 11th. Sikio, Campbell, Sekalo, and Habib round out your fields here as the drivers now have a 5-minute warm-up, Joey. And it seems to me, based on what I saw in that first one, survive the first lap. That's half the battle.
You nailed it, and you took the words right out of my mouth. As long as you can survive the tire warm-up phase out there, seems like you're going to be in a pretty good position to at least be on the podium, if not have a clean rest of the race. And it can be tricky out there in the simulator. You know, the tires, the car acts totally different when everything is cold versus once you got a few laps underneath the thing and it's all warm and toasty.
All right, so they don't seem to be really in a hurry to get back out on track here. I only see John Bastner trundling onto the circuit, but the sun does continue to go down low beneath the horizon. In fact, I think right about in the first couple laps of this feature race, we should see it officially hit sunset here for this evening. Well, it looks like they've got a little bit of time. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back for the feature here for the final round of the Drivers Club Road Atlanta Winter Series.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
There's a bear in the woods.
Right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of...
Singers, James, singers I've got. My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys. Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it. I might be going mad.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. We're getting ready for the feature race here in just a few seconds' time for the Drivers Club at Road Atlanta Winter Series. And the drivers have had a bit of an eventful first part of things in the sprint, which saw a number of incidents on the first lap. And a few drivers, unfortunately, see a championship maybe slip through their fingers a little bit. We're going to watch and see what happens with Madden here as he loses some points in the sprint to the likes of Jamie Gummer. He could still try and fight him back, but all Gummer has to do now is finish close behind him, and he sealed it here in the final round. Here's our starting order with Rafael Torres starting on the pole once again. Jamie Gummer will start in second, and Philip Crane will begin in P3. John Bastner will start fourth. After that, David Madden will begin in P5. Seth Thomas grids up in sixth. Then it's Cal Dennis in the seventh position. Todd Westfelling in the eighth spot. And the fifth row sees Tyler Hoffman and Jason Owens.
In 11th spot, we have Daniel Vincent, followed up with Nathan Sicchio there in 12th, Cameron Campbell 13th, Adam Sokolow 14th, and Christopher Habib rounding out the top 15 cars.
Looks like they're all gridding up pretty quickly for this one. Nobody wants to sit around. In fact, yeah, we've already got the lights up and the green flag is out. It looks like, oh, it's a very poor start for Torres. He goes absolutely nowhere. He's getting swapped, and Madden goes off trying to avoid him, and he wrecks on the first lap yet again. Up at the front, it is going to be Gummer potentially leading into the first turn. Philip Crane moves into second, and it's Bastinner into third.
Yeah, that was a terrible start for Madden as he's already in the wall on the front straight, but right now it's Gummer leading the way out front comfortably over Crane. Now, let's watch the cars over this turn 5 with the cold tires and the bouncing of the curves. It can be very tricky.
It was a very timid run through turn 5 for Gummer. He gave a wide margin on the exit of the turn. So I think he knows all he has to do is finish this race at this stage. Some battling back there between Hoffman and Thomas, with Thomas holding on to 4th position. Now we head onto the back stretch for the first time in anger in the feature race.
Now it looks like maybe one car off there at turn 7 just got the tires in the dirt, but for the most part, single file right now, headed down the back straight for the first time. These cars are going to do in upwards almost 170 miles an hour.
Madden's back going, by the way. He may not have crashed bad enough that he needs to take a spare car. We'll find out at the end of this lap, but he doesn't have a black and orange flag, so I think he should be okay to continue if he feels like the car is up to speed. Meanwhile, speaking of up to speed, Gummer completes lap 1 at the top spot. Crane second, Bastinner still third. No change since the start.
Now, if I had to pick one, well, Joe, if you had to pick one, would you rather do 3-day express or priority mail? Because right now that 3rd place position has got a battle.
I probably have to go with priority mail because I'm cheap, honestly. I think we're going to get another look at that start. I think some of this was kicked off by Torres. Yeah, you can see him trying to pull off to the side to avoid him and gets right into Seth Thomas.
Yeah, and here, the green Ferrari here is Madden. You're going to see him go left to try to avoid, but there's already a car there in the middle, and just bad news after that.
Got to be aware of your surroundings. There's a lot of damage on the left-hand side of that Ferrari, but Madden did not come into pit lane. He's still out, and he's managed to get up to 10th already. Meanwhile, this is the battle between Philip Crane and Jamie Gummer for the lead of the race. So it's a repeat of last time, except that Gummer's now in the reverse position. He has to play defense.
Well, and it's a little bit interesting swapping the roles around like that because you got to set the pace up front. If you go out there and you burn up the tires, you're not going to have anything left at the end of the race. And something else, 10 minutes longer this race, so got to factor that in too.
So I have to ask then, in your career, did you prefer to be the Rabbit or did you like being the Greyhound?
I like to be out front because it means I get to drive the car how I want to. Oftentimes when you're stuck behind a car, you're having to take alternate lines or maybe drive the car not to its best capabilities. So yeah, out front, definitely I liked it better.
Right now, that's the position that Gummer is in, as we now see Bastinner and Torres going to fight for the podium position. And Torres gets a pretty good run. He's going to have a nice tow down the backstretch, but is it a little too early? Because he's already having to pop out as the UPS Lamborghini goes off to the right-hand side.
Yeah, but he's got the track position over there on the left side. That's where you want to be going into this break zone. As long as you can hold it even here, you can kind of edge him out with a shorter distance around it, just like that. Torres up into 3rd.
Nicely done. Remember, he started on pole, and most of the positions lost here was that bad run off the line. So could he catch up to both Crane and Gummer and try to get the lead back? They'll have a slightly longer race of 16 laps for this one. It's also going to go into the night.
Well, and that'll be interesting because Road Atlanta is not lit up very well. Now, I'm sure these competitors have a lot of laps around this place in the dark, but the visual cues, all the references, they seem to change. And not only that, the cars speed up. So you have to be careful about those brake zones.
And there's a lot of blind corners as we got a car off. That's Crane. Oh, and another oh my goodness, that was close. Jason Owens just about running right into him. And they both have quite a hit with the wall. And the first one was the outside curbs. I didn't see what the second one was caused by.
Same thing. And if you look, they're actually the same car, both Lamborghinis. They just got out too far on those exit curbs in turn 5. Trust me, it's one of my nemesis. I've spun here before, and when you get out on those exit curbs, it gets really bouncy and you just lose a lot of that traction.
It's frustrated me to no end, and just about every car I've driven here always scares me when I go over it, but I'm sure it's taught these guys a lesson today, as we're going to see Philip Crane suddenly see a friend join him, and then he tries to back up. I mean, actually, it's a good thing he backed up, because he probably would have been hit by that car.
Most likely, yeah, and it's good to see them both get going again, kind of just like a simultaneous spin.
Well, Torres has one less car to pass, but now all he has to do is catch up to Gummer, and it's about 2 seconds between them. Madden, who is up into 8th position, is on that recovery drive for the second time tonight. Sekalo in front of him, and he's slow through the corner. Well, I thought he was going to let him by, but tries to come back onto the racing line, and that Ferrari is there.
Yeah, Adam Sekalo putting up a little bit of a fight here, and I gotta wonder if Adam is over there in DCRA. Oh no, he does the same thing in turn 5 that we just saw the Lamborghinis do. Hands the position to David Madden.
Another one bites the dust at this track, and specifically in turn 5. So many incidents tonight through that corner, and it's the exact same thing, just going wide out onto those curbs. I'm thinking if anybody has some sort of spotter out there for them, I'd be telling them, stay off the turn 5 curbs.
Well, and I was going to mention, I wonder if Adam is there at Driving Club Road Atlanta in that sim rig, and if he was bouncing over the curbs and getting into the wall, I'm sure he went for a ride in that SimCraft full motion rig.
I was going to say, I've seen some motion rigs go pretty steeply. I've seen some of that go to Daytona tilt pretty far over. What kind of degrees does that have? Because he could have been in for quite a ride.
Oh yeah, Joe, if you've never heard of SimCraft rigs, you should definitely look them up. But I know that Adam has got one there at DCRA for the members to use and whatnot. It's over there tucked away in a little room, and honestly, the whole thing there at Driving Club Road Atlanta is pretty impressive.
That looks like they got a nice little clubhouse over there from what I've seen. Meanwhile, the number 3 still up in the top spot, leading the way. That's actually Gummer with, I think it's supposed to be the number 1 on the side of the car. We're seeing on time and scoring. He's elected for a different one on his car today. Torres actually losing time to him that last lap, 3.2 seconds now. What about Vincent back here? Madden just managed to overtake him. He's still got Jesse Owens not far behind. In fact, we're going to take a look at this moment. Oh, another one off in turn 5. And then did we have an incident in 6?
I believe this is the incident with Vincent. Yeah, just turn 6. And turn 6 is actually deceivingly tricky because you have to carry a lot of speed going in there. And oftentimes you have to have the car rotate. This time that McLaren rotated too much on him.
Certainly made quite the show. But yeah, there you see it again as he tries to go through the gears out of turn 7. Just spitting flames out the back of that McLaren. But unfortunately, he's lost a lot of spots with that little bit of an off through there. Meanwhile, the race continues. Madden has climbed back up to 6, but again, he's got to beat Gummer by multiple positions at this stage. And Philip Crane also goes off in his Castrol liveried machine.
I think we're going to get back up top now because I know, oh, this is another replay. This is what happened to Philip Crane here. This is coming down the S's and just kind of loses it by himself down there.
I think we've gone back live, actually. Yeah, this is Gummer here now getting ready to lap cars. And that's one thing that he does have to be aware of. That could easily turn his race upside down. Doesn't want to get tangled with someone else that's not racing him for position here.
And that's a great point. You know, there's a lot of cars with a lot of varying skill levels out here, and you just have to be aware with such a big lead over 3 seconds. Be smart out there.
And with that gap certainly he's got some time to play patient. Doesn't need to try and rush it through. He just hit the halfway mark, actually, of this race. Let's see, how far back is Madden? 19 seconds. So he's not as far back as he was in the previous race, but he's also not nearly close enough this time to try and make a race of it with Gummer. At least I would anticipate, unless Jamiel has a major error in this race, just like that, and he goes into the wall! Into the wall. The commentator's curse strikes again for the number 1 car. Torres is going to re-inherit the lead. How damaged is the number 1?
I'm looking at the front end. It looks pretty banged up, but it all matters on how much lap time he loses. But Joe, you were just talking about it a couple laps ago. If anybody's got a spotter, get on the radio, tell your driver, be careful of turn 5. It bit again.
That's got to be, I think, number 6 we've seen in this race alone. That's not even counting the incidents that we saw in the sprint race. And it's just been a carbon copy every time. Everybody's flirting with disaster on that outside. Thankfully, Torres was very heads up and was able to avoid the wreck, just blasting past him.
Well, and it looked like Gummer was pretty wide on the exit of 5 there. Really bounced over those curbs, and I know that we've seen a lot of cars go off there, but I'm pretty sure we've seen at least 3 Lamborghinis, and those things can be pretty tricky once they start bouncing.
They do look finicky today, that's for sure. So he's still in second. He's lost about 2.5 seconds, Torres, and he's still running on. Last lap won't be representative for what his pace is because of that incident. So we'll have to wait and see what this shows us. Madden is now only 16 seconds behind the leader and make that about 14 behind Gummer. Still trying to charge as hard as he can.
Yeah, and we'll have to watch the pace there, Gummer. The other one that I had my eye on, Joe, is Dave Madden. I know it's kind of like a deja vu race of the sprint, but he's closing in on Cameron Campbell right now. Is almost 2 seconds a lap faster, and right now, coming out of turn 7 might be an opportunity to get the draft.
Starts to pull that on the number 4, or excuse me, the number 16 rather. Gets a pretty good exit, but I think he might be too far back to attempt an attack unless he's very ambitious here, and he might be. It's the end of the season. What have you got to lose at this point? And he's trying to chase down a driver who's way far ahead, but no, he's not going to do anything silly this time, but he is going to be great on the brakes compared to that Porsche.
Yeah, and I just think that Madden has more pace than Campbell right now. Campbell's done a great job. He's actually our biggest mover, up 7 positions from where he started way back there in 12th. And David Madden, with the problems that we documented early on, he's trying to crawl back.
So for information's sake, last lap, Gummer ran a 20.4. Before that incident, he was hitting the mid 119. So he is almost a second slower per lap as it is right now. Versus Madden, though, he's about the same pace. And we know Madden also is dealing with some damage.
Oh, and Vincent just gave a little hip check to Cameron Campbell as they were racing 3 wide. I think Campbell stays on the racetrack. Really good job hanging on to that Porsche.
It's not often that you get away with that in the S.
No, it isn't.
I've seen some seriously big wrecks when drivers go off there in the past. Yep, there's Vincent. And big heads up. Yeah, you can see he was going for that right-hand wall if he hadn't have caught it there on the pavement.
Absolutely, and thankfully still had enough clean tires to get it gripped up once he got back on the sticky stuff. And here we're going to jump up. This is John Baysteiner here in the 4th place position, chasing down Tyler Hoffman.
Yep, this is a battle that we saw a little bit earlier on in the race, but I think it's switched around because we did see him racing with a different driver a little bit earlier. But again, this could be tricky because this is 2 Lambos, and we've already seen so many of them fall afoul of turn 5. Let's watch them up to that corner here at the end of the S and see if it'll strike again.
I was gonna say, Joe, you're flirting with disaster there. You know, you're almost putting the commentator's curse on the Lambos.
I mean, it's happened enough time. I don't think I'm to blame on this one. Oh, way off the apex there for turn 7 for Hoffman. Baysteiner so much smoother through that turn. They don't have a car behind them battling for position. It's going to be a lapped car that's approached them in the form of Seth Thomas. So will Basiner try and make the move? Is he flashing his lights at him?
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. Whatever he's trying to do, be annoying back there. And John's not going to take the move right now. Look for another opportunity. Maybe get up alongside of him before he gets aggressive.
As I said, that BMW is a lap down from them, so they don't need to be too worried. However, if Seth decides to be aggressive, since he does look quicker than these two, it could be a real headache and split them up. Or it could give John an opportunity to try and attack Tyler. It all depends. It kind of is where they decide to let him by or where he tries to insert himself into this. And he definitely seems to want to get by them because he's also been flashing his lights at the pair.
Well, and I mean, if you're going to look for a driver to be fast on the racetrack as it goes tonight, we're riding on board with him right now. Seth Thomas, a Georgia native. He's been around Road Atlanta more times than anybody can probably count type of deal. And when everything changes, count on him to keep it the same.
You don't want to make him angry. Don't want to see him go postal out there. And right now, way to the outside of turn 7, almost dipping his tires into the dirt. That puts him off the back of Basiner, who does have a much better run this time on Hoffman.
Yeah, he's in the draft, and it looks like he might be up there close enough. Does he go driver's left here? Defensive out of Hoffman. A little swip swap between the two, and Basiner way too deep.
Oh, gonna just dip the wheels off into the grass, and this should allow Seth by. Yeah, he's now got himself an easy overtake. Well, should be an easy overtake. Oh, and it was made a little bit too hard as John gets literally elbowed out onto the grass once again, not willing to let Thomas have the line.
You know, that's one of those little learning moments here, and Seth Thomas has the inside line here. All you got to do is lift a little bit, tuck in line, but instead you try to battle for position, and it didn't work out too well.
Yeah, I don't know why he decided to try and fight that, but to me it seems like, well, the battle's over with the guy ahead of me. Let's let this lapper through. And he didn't agree in that situation, but Jason Owens in 8th place right now, catching up to Cameron Campbell, who is up 5 positions, had a poor finish there in that sprint race. Gridded up at the back of the field because of it, but it's not letting him really take advantage of all the attrition that's been happening.
No, but it's actually a nice little pack of cars here, isn't it? Jason Owens is coming up onto the tail end of it, and it's Campbell right in front of him, Adam Suckalo, Nathan Sicchio, and Daniel Vincent, kind of all spread around here on timing and scoring, but a good pack of racing.
Absolutely. Cameron's going to use the toe off of Adam there, get himself a little bit of extra speed. In front of them, Sicchio is not for position either, so if he could use both of these cars as a buffer, that would do well for Campbell, who unfortunately overshoots the corner and then gets into the side of Sicchio. It looks like Owens is going to have to check up. He's not able to attack because of it.
No, Jason Owens has to play patient a little bit. You saw the two kind of come together. It's a little bit of a funnel effect there in turns 10A and 10B, and actually looks like Jason Owens is getting pressure from behind in the number 14 now.
We're getting down to the end of this race. Torres has been once again controlling things now that he's back up at the front. It's about 4 seconds to the nearest car behind him. And plunging down through the S's, Campbell about 1.2 seconds ahead of Owens, but with the buffer of the 11 and the 16. Oh, excuse me, Campbell is the 16, so just the 11 between them right now. And for Jason Owens, he's going to have to try and make quick work, which he will, because Adam Sicchio just goes completely off course.
Turn 6, we've seen a bite a couple people, and I mentioned it's a really fast, sweeping, deceiving corner, and there's a little bit too much apex speed there for Adam Sicchio.
Well, this is not exactly the way that Gummer would have wanted it to go, I'm sure. He probably wanted to try and finish off with the win, which he kind of had in his lap up for the first part of this race. But he is running second. It'll be back-to-back seconds if he brings it home from here, so he'll be in a very nice position to clinch the championship if things don't change.
Yeah, here takes that Lamborghini up over that tricky turn 5 there. Nice and clean, though, this lap. And Got to think with only 2 laps to go, just take a deep breath. No need to gamble anymore.
Absolutely. Oh, well, Owens caught up to Campbell very quickly here. He is now right on top of that Porsche. So the Lamborghini is unfortunately going to get lap traffic at a really unfortunate place. The 13 looking very slow for some reason and separates them up through the S's.
Yeah, I believe that's Nathan Sicchio right there. Just separates the 2, but I think given the speed that we've seen out of Owens, unfortunately, Sicchio gets into the back of Owens in the brake zone at turn 6, takes him out.
Well, that's going to make the meeting in the clubhouse after this season a little bit awkward between the 2 of them. Jason losing a good opportunity to get a spot there right at the end. Here's the onboard replay. Oh, he punted him.
Yeah, it's just the difference in lines there, and I think that Sicchio just, he missed his braking opportunity or his braking marker, and unfortunately, there was a Lamborghini right there.
I believe we are on the white flag lap. Yes, we are. 5 seconds now down to Gummer. Rafael Jr. Torres has just been picking him up and putting him down. He won't win the championship, but my goodness, did he put in a great performance for the last race of the season. On to the backstretch. Other than that one last braking event on the lap, he's home free.
And I'm looking, not only is he in the lead right now, I believe he's got fastest lap in the only car that's laid down a 1:18 today.
Just great stuff here. He may have gotten off the line a little bit slow, but he didn't let it cause him any more woes in this race. Put it behind him very quickly, climbed his way back to the front, and goes back-to-back here today. The 777 will win both the sprint and the feature.
Looks like Gummer's going to come down turn 12 in the Lamborghini, claim that second spot there in the number 1 car. Not the lead battle that he had hoped for, but still a solid second place.
And should be the championship for Jamie O'Gummer. Madden, who was leading this by a single point coming in, has tripped at the finish line and will wind up in 5th, which is exactly where he finished in the sprint race as well. Unfortunately, that's going to be the last of our cars coming across the line, but we're not done yet. We have the unofficial results as well as driver interviews coming your way after the break, so stick around.
There's a bear in the woods.
All right, come on, you fatty. Come on, fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of...
Singers, James, singers I've got. My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on! Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys.
Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it. I might be going mad.
Racing isn't...
Want to see me underwear?
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser-scanned replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. The season is over, and while Rafael Jr. Torres managed to take the victory up at the top, Jamiel Gummer managed to take the championship with a pair of second places. Tyler Hoffman rounds out the podium in the feature, up from ninth on the grid as Baystender finishes fourth. David Madden was fifth, exactly where he started in the sprint. Finished in the sprint and started in the feature, so unfortunately was not able to overcome Gummer after he came in leading the points tonight. Daniel Vincent was sixth, and Cameron Campbell was seventh. And it's Philip Crane P8, Jason Owens ninth, and first car lap down was Seth Thomas in 10th.
Adam Sokolow also one lap down, the number 14 there, 2 laps down, Nathan Sicchio. And then Todd Westfelling and Christopher Habib had problems there on the start.
Looks like we've got Cameron Campbell, who came home with a 13th and a 7th this evening. And Cameron, obviously you had involvement in helping run this over the course of the season. Congratulations. It was a lot of fun to watch. Was it just as much fun to run in?
Yeah, it was a blast to run in. It was a good mix of members, professional coaches, and friends of the club. So we had a blast listening in the Discord to all the guys talking. It sounds like everybody had a lot of fun.
Well, that's great to hear. Like I said, it was entertaining to watch. You had a bit of a rough start in the very first race, the sprint there, and you got taken off. You made up for it in the second from 13th to 7th. That's no mean feat.
Yeah, first race was tough. A lot of offs, a lot of crashes, like you said, in the first turn. Got taken out, but fought back in the second race, and yeah, just had a lot of fun.
You guys obviously all have plenty of experience here at the real track, but we saw so many issues up and over turn 5 in this race. Do you think everybody just was a little bit more brave without life and limb on the line here in the virtual world?
That's exactly right. Yeah, we have a few spins here and there in turn 5 out here on member days, but really everyone's pushing the limits here during a race, a little bit unlike on our member days. So that's why we really love the iRacing, is to get out here and really push the limits and race wheel to wheel.
And you guys gave us plenty of that. Congratulations. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Absolutely. All the members of the club, DiscoveryParts for sponsoring this series, first time having a sponsor. So we're really happy that they came on and are giving some prizes to the members who got top 3 in the points for the championship.
That was Cameron Campbell with a 7th place finish in the feature race. And we've got our back-to-back winner in both races this evening. Joey's caught up with Rafael Torres.
Rafael, congratulations, not just on one checkered flag tonight, but taking home both of them.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Now, talk to me a little bit about the feature race, because it was different than the sprint in the fact that you actually had to get up there and fight a little bit. Wasn't just handed to you. What was your mentality after having all clean air in the sprint and having to get around a car in the feature?
Well, it was a little bit like back to my roots of like you gotta fight and earn those positions. I did a good kind of like dive bomb, kind of legal, but on the edge with Tyler. But I know Tyler from racing with him in real life, so I know he was gonna take it pretty well. I was able to pass him. Then after that, I just got down to the nitty gritty and started just clocking laps.
Well, and something on this racetrack that we saw catch a lot of competitors out today was turn 5. Did you have any issues there with turn 5 today?
Yeah, I noticed the issues during practice. I try to dial in a little bit the suspension, so the chassis will deal with turn 5 a little bit better. So it was one of those things that I was aware of it. It's the danger zone, but I try to set up the car in a way that it was okay for the setup.
Well, and it sounds like you have a lot of laps around Road Atlanta here in real life, and I'm always curious, what was the last car you got to turn a lap here at this place?
Let me see. I think I was helping a friend with a Porsche 944 with a V6 Mercedes engine in it. I think that was, we were doing a little bit of setup and dialing it in a few months ago.
Now, that's an interesting combo because the 944 had the transaxle, didn't it?
Yeah, he did a custom setup. He loves Mercedes, but he also likes Porsches. And I love BMWs, and I don't know how we got together, but I've been helping him with that car and racing his car in WRL. And what got my attention was the weird setup. It's all German, Mercedes V6 with the transaxle. No power brakes, no brake assist, no computers. It's just man and machine.
Well, and before I let you go, is there anybody that you want to say hi to or thank?
All the guys at the Drive Club, man. I just joined the series, and so far it's been awesome. It's good fun, and everybody's learning. And I love chasing people, and I love when people like Jamil chase me hard. He took the win away at Road America last week after I make a huge mistake. So it's fun. I want to thank all the guys at the Drivers Club.
Well, that was Rafael Torres taking home not just the sprint, but the feature wins here today at Road Atlanta.
Which is going to close us out. So we want to give a big thank you once again to the sponsor of the series, DrivingParts.com. Again, check them out if you got an opportunity. Lots of good gear if you want to go racing or just get a track day. Thanks to the team today as well, Ryan, Joey, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and a merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Speaking of which, be sure to check out our other broadcasts that we have listed here. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.